Joanne, you're a vegan. Tell me, what made you become a vegan?
I've always loved animals. Ever since I was a kid, that if there was like a movie or a documentary and it was a human against an animal, I was always rooting for the animal. I was always that kid. So just being an animal lover, when I got to understand the realities of what really happened, that's when I decided that I'm not going to eat meat. But I went vegetarian at first. I just found that would be a much easier way of doing it. So I was vegetarian for about 6 months. Then it didn't make sense to me to be eating dairy and taking from animals. So I went vegan and adjusted really, really well to it. I never had any problems, and I did a lot of research, which is what I recommend to people, because I think a lot of people will be quick to try it and say, oh, well, it didn't work for me, I got really sick. But it's like, well, were you taking vitamins? Were you doing this? Were you doing that? So I never had a problem with it, and just knowing that I was doing so much for the animals and the planet, it just meant so much to me to be living my life that way.
Very cool. So I'm a fellow vegan. For people out there that are thinking about going vegan or thinking about going vegetarian, it does go beyond just the health of the person. It does also deal with the health of the planet. And what have you read about this, or what have you researched about this?
Well, I've watched, obviously, An Inconvenient Truth. I've watched food documentaries. I saw Fast Food Nation, which is what I recommend to people. One documentary that I think will really get people to really tune into that they should make the decision to go vegan is the movie Earthlings. It's very, very graphic, very shocking, but that's what people need to see in order to go vegan. So I think it's too easy to say, well, I'm not going to watch it, but it's like, that's your responsibility to know what you're putting in your body, and I think that that's what they need to see that.
You're taking vegetables or taking vegetable matter like tofu and turning them into personas. And I know you did that with tofu, and you're doing that with some other vegetables as well. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, certainly. We're with Tommy Tofu Saves the Day, which is my vegan children's book. I felt it was really important for kids from a young age to see that vegetables are good things to eat, not to eat fast food and junk food. The interests that kids have are not geared towards health. So I wanted to create a fun character that kids could identify with. And he kind of looks a little like SpongeBob, but I was like, even if he kind of looks like that, it's like maybe he will have such an impact on kids that they'll kind of think he maybe resembles him, and then maybe approach it in a way that, oh, look what Tommy does. Look, he does this, he does that, he eats this. And I just thought it was important to reach kids, because I think too often if the parents aren't vegetarian, they're quick to say, oh, well, my kids can't eat meat, and that's something that they can decide later on. But what if the kid loves animals and doesn't want to eat them? So it's also for the parents to read too, and it has nutrition information in the back so they can see why these foods are good to put inside their bodies.
There seems to be a great movement in the United States towards sort of vegetarianism, vegetarian-friendly products, vegan products. How is it in Australia versus the United States?
Well, obviously, very, very spoiled here, and that's what I love. Every time I come back, it's like the food's just amazing. In Australia, we don't have as much, which is a shame, but it's improving every so often. I think that Sydney has the most, if anything. They're more into the raw food now, but they have more of a balance. But I think they can always do a lot more. Have more varieties of things, have sugar-free things, whereas there's not many of those kind of options in Australia. But like here, it's like, this is like vegan paradise. I love it.
Sure. Where's the most vegan-friendly place you've been in the world?
I would say LA. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely.
And what are some other things that you're doing? I know you have this vegan webisode that you're doing. Are you still doing that?
I am. It's pretty wacky. It's over-the-top humor. It's very niche humor. So it's a sketch comedy I wrote about the vegan lifestyle and taking it to extremes. So I've written like 50 episodes. I just have to get around to shooting them all. So we're shooting one in August back in LA. It's called Vegano, so that's going to be like the 6th or 7th episode. I've almost lost count of my own show, but it's a lot of fun. And the actors that are in it aren't necessarily vegans. I want it to be fair to everybody, because at the same time that they're in it, they don't know that they're learning what a vegan is at the same time. So it's a give and take type thing. So I thought, why not? It's like, give people a chance, you know?
Well, thank you very much for your great work.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank
Bye-bye.
You. Bye.